In the meantime, inflation in America has hit a 40-year high, 7.9% and rising as rising fuel prices cause a supply disruption from Russia. They are impacting the world. Joining me now is our business reporter, Edward Boyd. Ed, when can we expect American levels of inflation here in Australia? Please don't say ever.
Look, hopefully we can never see inflation at 7.9% in Australia. Inflation here is at 3.5%, but we know it's going higher and higher. You look at the price of petrol in Australia, $2.20 a litre for unleaded at the moment. That's expected to keep climbing as the petrol here catches up with the rising price of oil. So inflation in Australia could hit 5% this year, still below the 7.9, almost 8% in the United States. But let's have a quick look at some of the things which went up in value in the US in the 12 months to the end of February. And you can see it's a lot of products that are very similar to what we have in Australia. There's the inflation chart showing it's at a 40-year high. And on the next page, we've got used cars in the States up 42% in value, pretty much. Fuel up 38%. We can all see that happening here as well. Energy, that's gas at home, 26% increases. Electricity prices up about 9% and food up about 8%. The other big thing happening as well, Laura, is increased costs for farming and agriculture. And this is a US senator just talking about the impact of inflation and rising fertiliser costs on farmers in the United States.
Our farmers are trying to make planting decisions, and they need to make those decisions soon for this season. But they also have to take into account the fact that the cost of fertilizer is up 200%. Gas prices are at an all-time high, and they have been rising for months. This increase isn't just due to what's happening in the Ukraine. It's due to the administration's policies.
That is grim. Ed, we know Russian stocks listed in London have collapsed up to 90%, but overnight there's been a big development with Chinese companies. They've started to fall too. Why is that?
So there's a bit of a difference here. So in the UK, the London listed stocks in London, the Russian stocks listed in London have collapsed over the last couple of weeks. That's due to investors just pulling money out of Russia. China, it's a different story. So there's a bunch of Chinese companies, some of the biggest companies in China, you can see them on the screen there. They've started to fall on the US stock exchange, and that's due to reports that I'm reading that these companies are not keeping up to date with their disclosure obligations with US regulators. So when you lodge your financial reports, US regulators are meant to be able to read over them and double check them. That hasn't apparently happened with these companies. So investors are now starting to pull money out of these Chinese stocks, and they've lost a substantial amount of value overnight, and they could continue losing value over the next few days. So pretty big development there with Chinese stocks. But Laura, our own stock market today, it started positive territory on Friday. It's up about 0.3% in early trade.
Okay, so the stock market, as you say, is open and it's not doing too badly. Before I let you go, Guy Debelle, he's now departed the RBA. I thought he long wanted to be the governor and setting himself up for a career there, but now he's gone into the private sector. What do you think of that?
Look, I was really surprised by his decision to resign from the Reserve Bank of Australia. He's been there for 25 years and was basically in line to be the next governor of the RBA. Phil Lowe, the governor of the Reserve Bank, his term was scheduled to end in September next year. It was a 7-year term, and it was looking pretty likely that Guy Debelle would be the most likely successor to take over at the Reserve Bank. Instead, shock resignation yesterday. His notice period is literally 1 week. He finishes up on Wednesday next week. He resigned on Wednesday this week. So he's moving to Fortescue Future Industries, the company chaired by Andrew Twiggy Forrest, the billionaire. And I've read reports from Guy Debelle this morning saying he's really into the green future of Australia and wants to really play a key role in that. And he thinks moving to Fortescue Future Industries will let him do that. But it's a big shake-up at the Reserve Bank, and the management there, they're now going to be thinking who could potentially be the next governor. There's a lot of internal candidates still, the other assistant governors, but now there's a possibility that Treasurer Josh Frydenberg could potentially appoint someone from outside the Reserve Bank as well.
Oh, very interesting indeed. We'll keep a close eye on that, Ed. Thank you.